Y'all want to see a video that the governor of the state of Missouri doesn't want to hit YouTube? Yeah, that's what's about to come up in this video. Hello again and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome once again to In Your Face. This is the episode that a lot of people have been dying to see. The episode where I really take it to the state of Missouri, the state government, if you will. Alright, if you've kept up with the channel, been a long time subscriber to the Prince Magnum channel, you know that I have a total of 5 children. The first 2, I drank that relationship away. Their mother has nothing to do with me. I don't blame her considering how I used to be. She's just never come to terms and forgiven me. That being said, the last 3 have been unlawfully taken from me. You've already heard the story about Detective Steve Sykes, the Washington, Missouri detective who was so intelligent he can't even find a handle on a coffee cup. I'm not kidding you. But the state of Missouri has not been done with me since then. They've taken 2 other children, my daughter Angel Moon and my newborn son, Prince Dax. Somebody gave him that nickname and we just added the Prince on because who knows, he may be the one that takes over the Prince Magnum channel years down the road. That being said, let's start off with the case of my son. Angel Moon is going to be a harder fight, but the case on my son, Prince Dax, will be very, very easy. This is very self-explanatory. So let's get underway. The first time we went into the courtroom over this case, it was in Madison County. Madison County is very, very afraid of touching this because it was St. Francis County who had to use Madison County's courtroom. When a case like this comes up, they have X amount of hours to get in a courtroom and the judge decides whether or not they actually have a case. This being said, Judge Sandra Martinez was the presiding judge. Now, the juvenile office then has sent an investigator in, and you've all seen the video. You know that it exists, how she talked to me and how she basically thought that she pretty well owned this apartment, and the Bonne Terre City Police Department was there to kind of keep the peace. That being said, off the record, many of the officers who were present thought it was BS. They didn't, but unfortunately, since it's off the record, they can't, it's one of those political messes. They don't want to get involved. I understand. They have jobs, they need to feed their families. That being said, all right, we're in the courtroom. The investigator says that we didn't have baby bottles. What are these? All right. The investigator also said in the courtroom that we didn't have any diapers, no supplies. I'm just going to put up a couple of things then, and a couple more pictures. Not looking too good, St. Francis County. That means that the juvenile office willingly and knowingly submitted a false report to Judge Sandra Martinez. That means that they lied under oath. That's perjury. That's a crime. Okay? This has not come to light. Again, Madison County is a little, since it happened in their courtroom, technically this is their baby now. It's all documented. It's right there. Okay? So already the juvenile office they have committed a serious crime. Perjury is a very serious crime here in the state of Missouri. That being said, that means that they now have to be served. They will then be, taken to jail, read their rights. Basically, they're treated as common criminals. Okay, but this has not been done. This won't be done, even with this evidence, because it's the state of Missouri and government officials do not prosecute other government officials. Okay? So already you see where this is going. Let's take it a step further. They have basically, we're doing the visits, doing the court stuff. We missed the last couple court dates for reasons, but it has given me enough time to get this evidence together. Recently, I have managed to collect enough information on family services. Now, that here in Missouri, somewhere along the line, the Division of Family Services changed their name to Children's Division. I think they had it right the first time. Because, all right, let's take a look at this in a broader perspective. What do you do as an individual when you're going through this and you know the system is corrupt? You've already seen it happening. You have the evidence to prove. What do? Well, they can't tell you not to video your children, so I almost always have one of these. Let me show you something that I found, which I'm going to have to narrate this, and I'm going to have to slow it down. And it's going to get a little long-winded, it's going to get a little tedious, but you're going to catch on pretty fast.
Okay, folks, you'll note the darkened area on my son's forehead. Now, I had to do this kind of incognito, but if you're missing it, having a difficult time, well, let's go ahead and put it in black and white. That darkened area is actually a scar on his forehead, a scar that basically the Division of Family Services has not been able to explain. Now, sometime back, my son was supposedly sick, and for reasons we didn't get to have visits that day. Okay, I'll buy that, but where'd the scar come from? This definitely shows that there may be abuse going on within the foster home.
That, my friends, is child abuse. Let's go a step further. One of the first things that an investigator looks for when they go into your home here in the state of Missouri, they look for those stupid wall plugs. You know the ones, the stupid cheap little ones that go into a wall outlet. Well, when you go into Division of Family Services office for a visit, wouldn't you expect them to have those? Take a look at this. Not looking too good, family services. What about the condition of the room? Let's take a look at that. If this was the other way around, family services would take your child. But however, this is family services that are expecting you to be okay with conditions like this. Now, I grant you my floors aren't perfectly clean, but I can pretty well guarantee that their rooms are much, much filthier than anything you'll find in a drug addict's home. So, this is neglect, this is unsanitary, and it's unacceptable. On top of that, I don't have video footage of this, but recently my son Prince Dax has had this nice little problem with swelling in his hands. 2 weeks ago, from the time I'm making this video, I mentioned it to the Division of Family Services, and there has been no response. Now, the swelling has gone down some, but not enough. So we have a bruise, a scar on his forehead that cannot be explained. We have edema in his hands, which has not been explained. And to go a step further, I don't have this on film, but I think it wouldn't take much to provoke a scene like this. My son still likes to put, he's a year old, he still likes to try to put things in his mouth. You tell him not to put anything in his mouth, that, basically, don't put anything in your mouth, it's nasty, blah, blah, blah. Just redirect him. You would swear you were beating him. Now, I get it, and I've seen this numerous times, and where the youngest child, for whatever reason, is hypersensitive. Okay, I'll buy that. But you would swear he's being beaten to death. That tells me plenty. The mark on his head, along with his behavior, unusual scratches, weird rashes, things that just don't add up. Yeah, I would say there's neglect and abuse going on, and family services is fully aware. That means that no matter what the foster parents are doing, even if they're doing anything wrong, family services is supposed to be monitoring this, which means that they are at fault. That means that I have a complete case against the Division of Family Services right here in the state of Missouri, which means that they willingly and knowfully withheld this information, which means that right now, as it stands, they are facing criminal charges for child abuse and child neglect, child endangerment, you name it, they're up for it right now. Now, let's talk about what we can do. Alright, many of you are saying, well, Prince Magnum, that's a very compelling case. What are you going to do? How are you going to approach this? Well, number one, I have contacted Fox 2 News in St. Louis. I have then explained to them what the case is about and they're going to investigate. Now, I did warn them that this is going to air one way or the other, that I was going to put this up on YouTube, that this was going to, that if they did not jump on this, I was going to point it out. Okay? Fox 2 News, you are fully aware of this. You basically either help with the story, or you just prove exactly what everyone already knows, that mainstream media does not do their job. They just cover up for the government. By the way, when I did present this, and I said right now, mainstream media has this reputation right now that they're not presenting the news as it's supposed to be. They're not doing their job. They're not fighting for the people. And the woman then said, hey, some of us have got to eat too. I don't care about you. I want my children at home, okay? So, if you want to eat, you'll do your job. That's simple. I also contacted the Alex Jones Show. Explained to them the situation. Whether or not they pick up on it, it's a whole other story. They're really focused heavily on the federal end. But the thing that we also have to remember, when the globalists on the federal side can no longer keep those jobs, what are they going to do? They're going to run back to the states. But do you think I stopped there? No. I left a message for the governor of the state of Missouri. A gentleman's last name I can't even hardly pronounce, which is also a Democrat. So I don't expect too terribly much, because Democrats right now are not known for doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm hoping this one's going to be different, because right now the biggest one is yet to come. Okay, Prince Magnum did his homework. Let's talk about that homework. There's nothing worse than a great political movement here in the state of Missouri. No one likes to talk about big political movements within a state. Some time back, I was doing my research in this case, and I decided, why don't I just contact a U.S. Senator? I had a couple questions. And those questions were, number one, is it fair to say that here in the state of Missouri, well, is it fair to say that since the Civil War, no U.S. state can secede the Union? And the answer to that question was, yes, you are correct. No state can secede the Union. I said, then let me ask this question. Can part of a sitting United States state decide that they no longer want to be a part of the current state and basically secede the state, making a whole new state within the United States? And the aide at Senator Claire McCaskill's office said there's no precedence. And since there is no precedence, it is legal. That's right, folks. It's legal if a part of the state of Missouri no longer wants to be part of Missouri. So, what I have come up with is, basically, we have to rally the southern half of the state of Missouri to secede the state of Missouri, thus creating South Missouri, the new 51st state. Now, I already hear some of you asking the question, Prince Magnum, how can you rally that many people? That's very easy. That's easier than what you think. Missouri is known for its ridiculous gun laws. It's known for trying to take certain rights away. There are tons of these organizations out there trying to fight for their own personal interests. Let's take a few of them, for example. Right now, there's a movement to fight that whole thing where the state of Missouri is trying to take away some of the rights of a union. Well, if it wasn't for the unions, we wouldn't have some of the high wages that we have for like construction workers, carpenters, plumbers, you name it. Okay? So, if the state of Missouri is able to pass this legislation, That means it hurts the unions, which means that other companies can start lowering wages. Uh-oh, this is a big issue. Okay, so if that's the case, the unions don't want them to do that. They don't want the state of Missouri to take away their abilities, so there's a whole movement right there. Some people who are already pissed off at the government. The NRA is always fighting for rights to keep guns, to keep knives within the state. You know, they're fighting the federal end. They're always fighting on the state level. There's even firearms companies that are even fighting for Second Amendment rights. State of Missouri is right up there trying to screw people over on this. That means there's another group. Okay, there's Fathers for Justice. Basically, single dads are getting screwed over all the time. I know. I've been a single dad. Couldn't get a look at child support. Couldn't get any help from the state of Missouri. Why? Because I was a man. How do you fight that? Again, there's another group. All someone has to do is basically get all these groups together and say, do we want it to stop? And I'm pretty sure it won't take long for tons of these groups to say, you know what? The Missouri government in Jefferson City does not care about us. They're too busy trying to screw the average Joe, John Q. public over. You know, Joe Blow, or or so what? They're trying to screw everybody over. They're out for themselves or select groups. There's your movement, okay? And I'm sure a lot of these groups have been waiting for this moment. We now have the means right now at our fingertips, and I'm pretty sure our sitting our sitting Missouri governor right now is sitting there going, oh my God. Because at this point, you have one pissed off father, and I'm sure there's many of us fathers out there and moms that are sick and tired of our children being ripped away from us, and a junkie sitting there shooting up heroin can have their kids anytime they want. Okay, they play the system. We are honest people. I go to work every day and all that good stuff. I get on YouTube, I tell you how it is. You know, there it is. There's the movement. We now have the means to basically split Missouri in half, form our own state constitution, declare ourselves the 51st state, and rewrite the laws as we see fit. Okay. Can it be done? Yes, it can be done. As I said, there's no precedents, which means there's no laws, which means that all these corrupt officials have two choices. One, they run for the northern border of Missouri. Basically, they run for North Missouri, where the problems are, so they can then hide in that system. Or two, they can be tried for crimes against humanity. It's all the same. And yes, I say crimes against humanity. Okay? If you're tired of it, if you're watching this video, you're already tired of it. If you're watching this video, you want it to stop. If you want it to stop, you now know how to do it. We have the capabilities. Be expecting soon that in many southern Missouri counties that we're going to start seeing petitions make their way into the public, making this reach the ballots. See, Governor, should have been in your office Saturday. Should have answered this one. Because now I'm basically, you and anybody who's in office right now has just committed political suicide. Welcome to the new world order. It's 1776 all over again, and it's happening right here in the central part of the U.S. Power will come back to the people. That brings us to the end of this video. If you want to help now, Now is the time to hit that subscribe button. If you really want to be a part of the movement, the real movement that makes Missouri a true free state within the United States, hit that subscribe button. If you want to go a step further, hit that bell icon, and I promise you, you'll be notified every time we upload a new video. If you want to see more videos like this where we push and we make this so hard to have a government office in the state of Missouri, be sure to hit the like button and watch this video often, because every time you watch it and every time a commercial runs, I make money, and when I make money, I can then put this towards the fight to take it back to the politicians. As always, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. It might even be you're fighting a battle against your own government to take out the corruption. There's a project all in itself. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, even for the politicians that I'm about to ruin the careers of, if nobody has told any of you out there that they love you, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.
Good night, ladies.